Sean, and I'm here to bring you some exciting news. Our wait from the Age of Sigmar is done. Although I think they're returning to it this month, or next month in November. It's the end of October here. It's October 31st, so Halloween for us Americans, which is a big deal. I don't think the rest of the world it's such a big deal, but for us it's a pretty big holiday. But we got the Tau Codex. Now here's the old one. You can see it's. Let me see if I can get some more light in here, but it's kind of more dull. I mean, it's got the same picture as this one, but if you compare, it's a little bluer than this one, and a little bit more of the arm is on there, and less of the arm is on this one, and then just a little brighter red down here compared to down here. The backs are different. But let's get into it. I'm probably going to split this up a little bit differently just because there's so much to cover, and I also have the Cayune campaign expansion, which also adds in things for Space Marines, namely the White Scars and the Raven Wing, or the Raven Guard, which need it. I don't think the White Scars needed it so much, but so we're going to jump into this. I'm going to break it into a couple points. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is typically what I do is go through the Warlord Traits and kind of the main things that are new about the Codex. Now, they, just like last time, have a bonding knife ritual. So if a squad takes a bonding knife, they basically benefit from heroic morale even if they don't have independent character. What does that mean? That means that they get to rally at their normal leadership, no matter if they're down to like less than 25% of their squad or not. So sometimes it's worth taking, especially when you don't want something to run off the table. All friendly models with Tau Empire faction within 12 inches of an ethereal use his leadership for fear, morale, pitting, and regroup tests. However, if the ethereal is removed as a casualty in the mission that uses victory points, your opponent gains 1 additional victory point. So that's failure is not an option, and that's a typical. It's been in there for the last couple editions. Although it used to be D3 victory points, now it's just 1, so that's nice. While a unit with the fire team special rule contains 3 vehicles or 3 monsters creatures, all vehicles and monster creatures in that unit have +1 ballistic skill. That's something new for this edition because they're allowing things like the Riptide to have 3 in a unit now instead of just a single. So some of these monsters creatures and large machines get to benefit from +1 ballistic skill when there's 3 of them in the squad, or the unit, which is cool. Supporting fire. All friendly models within 6 inches of a unit that's getting charged can fire Overwatch, but they can only fire it once per phase, so you have to choose, for multiple assaults, when you're going to fire. Now, that's the same as last edition. Now, the Warlord traits are a little different than last time. I think a little better, too. Because there were some of them that were useful for suits commanders and some that were useful for ethereals, and so it kind of sucked if you got one that didn't really work for your HQ or commander. This one, they kind of let you re-roll the result if it's not something you can use, which is nice. So, precision of the skilled hunter. Enemies cannot take lookout sirs or sir rolls against your warlord's shooting attacks. If your warlord has no ranged weapons, re-roll this result. So that's good for the ethereal, but it's good for your commander if he gets it. If your commander is one that has weapons. Through Unity Devastation. So 1 use only, declare your warlord is using this ability at the start of your shooting phase. For the duration of the phase, all friendly units with the Tau Empire faction within 12 inches of the warlord reroll hits of 1. So it's kind of like him being a 12-inch targeting relay. Number 3 is a ghost who walks among us. So the warlord and his unit have 3d6 inches movement when making jump pack thrust moves. If your warlord is not jetpack infantry, reroll this result. Once again, it's nice if that's the ethereal. So 3d6 assault move jetpack thrust is really strong. So I think that's a really good warlord trait. Exemplar of the selfless cause. One use only. Declare your Warlord is using this ability at the start of your movement phase. All friendly units with Tau Empire faction on the battlefield that have gone to ground are no longer considered gone to ground and can move, shoot, and charge normally this turn. That's strong, and that's strong even for your ethereal or suit commander, so it's a good one. Predator of the Skies, one use only. Declare your Warlord is using this ability at the start of one of your shooting phases. For that phase, the Warlord and his unit have the Skyfire special rule. That's a good one. I wish they had the reroll one if you had ethereal, although it does include the unit, so it may help, whatever unit he's with. Through Boldness Victory, your Warlord and any unit he joins does not scatter when they arrive via Deep Strike. If your Warlord cannot Deep Strike, reroll this result. Once again, it kind of helps you if you've got the ethereal that can Deep Strike. So I think all the Warlord traits are actually pretty solid, which I do think 7th edition has been better about. I think 6th edition, some of the Warlord traits were kind of meh. There are some new weapons, although I think we'll kind of talk about those when we talk about the individual units instead of just doing them separately, so it's easier to kind of remember those things. Now, I'm going to go through, they kind of have their, ever since Codex Necrons, which they got their Decurion detachment, which now everybody is talking about, oh, they get, that army gets their Decurion detachment. They just say that because that was the first one that came out like that from GW. And these guys have a similar one. It's called the Hunter Contingent. It's, some of you may have seen it. It was kind of leaked ahead of time. So this is the one that's causing a lot of debate on the internet and some heated discussions. I'm not going to go into interpretation right now, but it does have the ability to be very powerful depending on how you interpret it. Coordinated firepower. Whenever a unit from a hunter contingent, which is the whole detachment, targets a unit in the shooting phase, any number of other units from the same detachment who can still shoot can add their firepower to the attack. These units must shoot the same target, resolving their shots as if they were a single unit. This includes the use of marker light abilities. When 3 or more units combine their firepower, the firing model add +1 to their ballistic skill. So that in and of itself, like when you first read it, it's like, oh, fair, because most Tau are ballistic skill 3, so it makes them 4. Cool. When I first read it too, I was like, it's kind of a cool little trait, 3 guys. And then people, I think everybody always likes to think about how to break something. They thought, oh, it's as 1 unit, so you can take Buffmander and load him up, and then any units that combine fire with the Buffmander gets his reroll to hit and ignore cover and yada yada yada. If he's got the pure diet chip like Tank Hunter or Monster Hunter, and there's still kind of some debate. You can have units that have target lock, or if you have a gargantuan creature like the Storm Surge, can it shoot at that unit with 1 weapon and then shoot other units with each individual weapon, and then does it get all the benefits from the Buffmander for all of those shots? Same thing with units that have a guy in there with target lock. Can he shoot another unit and still benefit from the Buffmander's buffs? There's a lot of debate on that. I mean, it depends on how you read it, and the people that are saying raw or rules as written, one argument I would say is that it says these units must shoot the same target, resolving their shots as if they were a single unit. I get that they are treated as a single unit, but saying that they must shoot the same target, maybe I would argue they have to shoot. That's 1 unit. They can't shoot anything else. I don't know. I mean, it's a big hot mess right now, and in typical GW fashion, Lord knows when we're going to get an FAQ or an answer from them. I don't know if they really care that much. So it's frustrating because it's something that really affects, especially for people like myself who do TO or run tournament events. It's one of those things that we're going to have to deal with sooner rather than later, which is frustrating. Because I don't mean to kind of go off course a little bit, but I do wish that I love this game. I love the fluff about it. I love the models, everything about it. But I do wish that Games Workshop did support the customer a little bit more as far as the game and the game mechanics, because a lot of us that collect these things aren't doing it just for a hobby. I mean, that's part of it, but they're doing it also to play a game, and they want it to run smoothly. So that's my 2 cents on it. Anyway, there's a main hunter cadre, which is the one you have to take. You have to take 1 core, and that's a commander, 0 to 1 cadre fireblade, 0 to 1 unit of crisis bodyguards, 3 to 6 units chosen from the following combination: breacher team, strike team, crew carnivores. 1 to 3 units in any combination. So stealth battlesuits, crisis battlesuits, ghost keel battlesuits, riptide battlesuits. And then 1 to 3 chosen in any combination: pathfinder team, piranhas, vespids, stingwings, drones. And then 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination. So broadside battlesuits, hammerhead, storm surge, or sniper drones. So they're kind of making you take certain things. The weird thing on here is that there's no ethereal in there, and the command, the contingent headquarters that you can take has to take another commander or commander Shadow Sun, and then 0 to 1 ethereal, or Unvow or on She. So you don't have to take any ethereals if you don't want to, but 0 to 1, and then 1 to 2 units of crisis bodyguards, so making you take bodyguards if you take that, which gets pretty expensive. The other things that you can take, there's an optimized stealth cadre, which is 2 units of stealth battlesuits and 1 unit of ghost keel battlesuits, which is actually really good. The buffs in that formation are really good. The retaliation cadre is 1 commander, 3 units of crisis battlesuits, 1 unit of broadside battlesuits, 1 unit of riptides. Allied advanced cadre is 4 units of crew carnivores, 2 units of vespid stingwings. I don't think you're gonna see that on the table too much. Really stupid, and some of the buffs in there are really pretty useless. The fire-based support cadre is 2 units of broadside battlesuits and 1 riptide battlesuit. So it's kind of one of the data slates they released on their kind of Christmas calendar thing a few years back, right before 6th edition dropped. So a little while ago. But it's cleaned up a little bit, and it makes it a little easier, not have to invest a ton of points. It doesn't have to be full units, but the buffs aren't quite as good as they used to be. But I think it's fair. Another one is a drone network, so just 1 unit of drones. Then there's an air cast support cadre, which is a Sunshark bomber and a Razorwing strike fighter. Assigned air case asset is a Sunshark bomber or a Razorwing strike fighter. And then infiltration cadre, 3 units of pathfinders, 3 units of stealth battlesuits, 1 unit of piranhas. And then heavy retribution cadre is 1 unit of ghost keel battlesuits, 2 units of storm surges. And then the armored interdiction cadre is 3 units of hammerhead gunships and 1 stingray gunship unit. So that's the only place you can get a stingray, and you have to buy 3 hammerheads at least to get it. It's a little disappointing because the Skyray is so good. The other part is there's no way on this to get a couple characters. You can't get Farsight on here at all, and you can't get, because it doesn't say you can substitute them in, you also can't get Darkstrider, I think his name is Darkstrider. Now I apologize because Darkstrider, who's can go with like Pathfinders and Fire Warriors. So there's no way to get him. I wish they would have put like Cadre Fireblade or Darkstrider. Would have been a cool way to get him into the formation of the detachment, but there isn't. So I'll stop here, and we'll start going into the HQs or headquarters sections. There's quite a few of them for Tau, and then we'll just kind of break it down each section. Once we get through, we'll spend some time on the formation, so there'll be some videos on that, and then I'm going to do a video on the campaign, and probably do an individual video for both of the 2 Space Marine factions that got some love because they kind of have their own detachment too. So we'll talk about that and go through that. So until next time, we keep on wargaming and hang in there, guys. If you're a tournament player, just try to work with your local group, hopefully, to kind of figure something out, at least until we get an FAQ, which who knows when that's going to be. But try to work it out, and I would suggest, if you're not in a area that has a lot of tournaments and just have a local loose gaming group, before you start your game, talk about it with your opponent and try to come to a reasonable decision before playing, because remember that it's a game of give and take. You want to have a good time, but you want your opponent to have a good time. If you wipe them off the table and they're just removing models and they can't do anything to you, not a lot of fun. And that goes for any army. That's not just how, you know. So just try to like come to reasonable terms. It's, remember that you want to have fun. It's your kind of your hobby, your escape, and so you want to get games. You don't want to lose friends. So just hang in there and hopefully get things sorted and be able to keep on wargaming until the next Codex comes out and somebody is raging about something in there. So, I mean, myself, having Tau, I haven't played them for a little while, kind of because I got sick of people complaining about facing them. Same thing with my Eldar. There's strong armies, and so you just, you want to try to have a good time and don't, try not to upset people when you're playing them. All right, next time. Talk to you guys later.
Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya. Bye for now. Bye for now. Goodbye. I like bottoms.